Right. So, hi everyone, and welcome to our Blockchain Club's first webinar. Very deep dive into evolution of money. And thank you guys so much for taking time out of your weekend to come and listen to this talk. And I hope this talk is going to be really interesting and give you more insight into what money has become and also why blockchain is part of its future. So before that, I would like you guys to scan this QR code. We're going to be also sending it into the chat. And this is just for you guys to collect your USSDC points. So yeah, you guys should do that before we get started. Right, so we already have that in the chat. And before we get started, I think we should all get well acquainted with Mr. Ko, who is our speaker for today. And this is Mr. Ko Hauze, and he is not only a founder of Crypto Valley Malaysia, he is also an author of a Blockchain Insider book and also the main writer for the website as well. He is also an industry educator with a diploma in the blockchain course in UMP. And also he is a certified Luno educator. So without further ado, I think we should get well acquainted with Mr. Ko, and I'll leave the floor to him. Thank you.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. So allow me to share my screen with you all. And can you see my screen? And then are these slides in full screen? Hello?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
I'll just share with you, this was my presentation back in year 2018. And what I would say today is that nothing much changes because all these are the very basic and the very fundamental of how things is being shaped and progressed ever since then. Okay, so that's why for today's topic, we talk about blockchain, Bitcoin, and money as a very introductory and basic understanding of what these are all about. Okay, because from what we understand is that in order for us to know what is blockchain, we actually need to study Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the first successful or de facto blockchain that gives people that confident and the real world killer app that really shows the promises of blockchain. But then in order to further understand Bitcoin, what we really need to do is to make a step backward further to understand what is money in the first place. So let's go into the slides one by one. Okay. So now, for what is blockchain, you can view it as though like a big rock or big asteroid falling from the sky at this point of time. That means it's too big that everybody might have their own perspective or own angle looking at this thing and give it their own definition based on the position they stand or based on their personal experience and perspective. But then, all in all, in summary, blockchain, you can divide it into two main perspective, which is the crypto economy part of it and the technology side of it. So there are two schools of thought mainly in the market now, where one is focused mainly on the crypto economy part of it, while the other one, what we see in the market currently is that there are more of those tech people from the conventional or the, so to speak, more traditional technology industry. So they would prefer to look at the whole blockchain thing from the technology angle of it. Okay. So for the crypto economy part of it, what we will look into is about the future of money and then a tale of two worlds, which is the conventional fiat monetary system and what are the possibilities the cryptocurrency world can bring to us. And then we look at the three phases of cryptocurrency, how cryptocurrency might or could evolve from what it is today. Okay, so that would be more on the crypto economy part of it. Then with regard to the technology side of it, we will look at it from the database perspective and then the concept of decentralized distributed system. And then we will look at a more higher perspective of how technology innovation evolve in 100 years spectrum. Okay, so this would be mainly the 6 subtopics in two main categories that we are looking for the topic, what is blockchain. Okay, so now let's go into the blockchain part of it. Blockchain at a glance. Okay, about blockchain, Bitcoin, and money. So just now we mentioned that blockchain, we have the technologies part and then also the crypto economy side of it. In terms of applications, to make it more understandable to laymen or the public, the technology side of it, we can use it for smart money, smart contract, smart energy, smart assets, etc. Whatever thing that we can automate and we can put further artificial intelligence element into it through using blockchain as one of the backbone technology. So this we can further elaborate or we can further discuss in our Q&A session later. Okay. And then on the crypto economy side of it, I think as most of you already understand, what we see in the market now is that most people are using blockchain technology to issue either the security tokens or the utility tokens. Okay, we don't lack of any of these use cases, or the experimental projects in the market. So you can see from coinmarketcap.com, there are more than around 10,000 to 20,000 types of tokens available for us to do further research. Okay, so now we go to the other slide. Of all important concept, please note that Bitcoin is only the tip of the iceberg. So if you think blockchain is only Bitcoin, then you might overlook other things. Excuse me. Or other potentials the blockchain technology can bring to us. Okay, so Bitcoin is being used as our case study or in our discussion because Bitcoin is only not only the first blockchain, but also the only proven blockchain to date that hasn't been hacked ever since its um, introduction to the world. Okay, so now the thing about Bitcoin is that it proves all the promises that blockchain um, introduces to the world. Okay, it has all that immutability, all that transparency, and all that elements that is poised to give us a brighter, transparent, and a fairer future. That is uh, part of the promises that the blockchain technology is bringing to the market. So the statement, as clear as it is, if you happen to have a platform that guarantees certain trust functions, one very useful application for that is to build a currency and a payment network. Okay, but don't forget the key is we can build more things from here. Okay, so now what I would like to bring out to your attention is that what is not stated in this slide is that you see in the conventional digital medium or in the digital world, the question I would like to ask is that how fast can you copy, let's say for example, a digital photo? How fast can you copy a digital photo? How many copies you can copy this digital photo? And how about the quality of that copied version of the digital photo that you successfully copied? Okay. So for these three questions, conventionally before the introduction of the blockchain technology, we call this double spend challenge. That means people has no idea how to solve that double spend issue when it comes to monetary issuance in the digital world. What we are talking about, the monetary issuance now is native digital money, not a digital representative of the existing fiat currency system or the existing money as we know it. Okay. So let's say for example, the touch and go wallet or the bonus link point or the credit card points, etc. Right? What we have in the world today in the digital world prior to the Bitcoin appearance in the digital world, they are all simply a representation of the physical world's money. Okay, nobody ever successfully come out with issuance of a real native digital currency. Not until we found or we saw this thing called Bitcoin, which rides on the blockchain technology. Okay, so this is the part, and these are some of the points that you really need to look into and do further studies upon. Okay, so the keywords here is blockchain, Bitcoin, money. Okay, now we go to next slides. So this is the part about the crypto economy. So in this part of the crypto economy, there are three subtopics: the thoughts of the future of money, a tale of two monetary worlds, and the three phases of cryptocurrency. So it happened to be my personal encounter with this blockchain technology and this Bitcoin thing is that I went to this sharing by this guy called Andreas Antonopoulos, which happened to be the title of that sharing was The Future of Money. Okay. So that talk or that sharing opened up my mind and gave me some answers for the questions that I had been asking all the while and seeking or finding the solutions for. Okay. So this one I will share with you further on the next few slides. But then the key is about the Andreas Antonopoulos sharing, and that was in KL, in Gombak area, if not mistaken. So later I can, Gerald, you can remind me if I will send you the link to that specific or that particular talk by Andreas Antonopoulos. Okay, that was back in 2017, if not mistaken. Okay, so now we go to the crypto economy part of it. So you see, if I were to ask you what is money, I think everybody have our own definition of money. maybe some will have a different definition. But to me, I think so far the best definition that I find it interesting is that money is an idea. Okay, so that yes, money doesn't go on tree, money doesn't fall from sky, but then money does, or indeed in fact is being created out of thin air, especially in today's digital world. Okay, so just by a keystroke or a few lines of code, now we can issue technically, theoretically, technically, or logically unlimited amount of money. Okay, so this is the part that is quite interesting about the evolution of money at this point of time, right? Like previously, before um, digital world or the digital era, we started everything with barter trade. Okay, that was the time we trade value or we exchange value through goods. And then after that, we went into an era where we use precious metals as a representation of value, and we exchange value or make trade through precious metal, like the gold coin, like the silver coin, etc. Okay, like copper coin, etc. Then we evolve again. We evolve in today's world where we use paper money as a form of, as a medium of exchange for us to trade, for us to exchange values. Okay, and then we went into this digital revolution, digital era, the .com era, the internet era, and we are in the transition period where we are slowly phasing out our physical money. Okay, so now as you find it, maybe this quote, a very famous quote, yeah, the future is already here. It's not just, if it's just not evenly being distributed. Okay, so you see in most part of China, um it's kind of like cashless society already. Okay, and we start seeing in, even in our own nation state, Malaysia, more and more people and more youngsters are start using e-wallet to make payments. So all these digital wallet thing are starting to come into our daily life, into our social activities, businesses, pictures, etc. Okay, so as clear as its status in this diagram, we are here. We are in a very exciting period where we are seeing history unfolding in a very rapid, in a very speedy, um, what you call process. Okay, but anyhow, what I would like to bring to your attention is that this is an evolution, and everything is about trust. Okay, so eventually, if you look deep down further, or if you give it a very deeper thought, it's all about resource allocation. It's all about distribution of all the wealth, all the assets, all the resources that we are able to find or create in this world as we know it. Okay, so I know most of us are being exposed to this thing called NFT, metaverse, whatever, but this is also part of the evolution. Okay, we can talk that, or we can discuss that further later in our Q&A session. Okay, so what we see and what our thought about the future of money is that eventually we might be enter into an era where human civilization will enter into this moneyless state. That means money would be something seen as very primitive, maybe some centuries beyond our time. Our great grandchildren, they would feel strange. How do we actually allow this thing called poverty happen in our era or in our time? Okay, but this is something where worth us to give it a thought, or something for us to ponder upon. So if you want to develop something, or if you want to be part of something, um, try to think as deep as possible, and try to think as far as possible as you can see. Then when you look at it from a wider perspective, when you look at it from a higher perspective, then every small little thing starts to make sense. Then every small little thing starts to not matter so much to you anymore, because you will understand why this works in such a way, and then why this happened out of sudden, or why this happened eventually, because everything is well planned, or everything might be fated, okay, accordingly to a certain set of principles. And some people would like to call this the law of the universe, or whatever, okay. But I'm not sure which faculty or which stream you're coming from, or what background you're coming from. But if you are from the ICT um, faculty, or you're from the what you call information communication technology stream, then you will understand further about all these things, because you will have an advantage over your peers because of all this technological background, okay, all this digital world related background. But then what we need to understand is that what is money, and then how do you define money. So from another angle, you can look at money as you define it by the functionality. Okay. So for those who come from this accounting background, they would know that function of money is to be medium of exchange, a store of value, or a unit of accounting. Okay. This is what is being taught in the traditional education system in our textbooks. Okay. So we all use money for us to exchange services. For instance, you pay money for a cup of coffee, you pay money for the services you receive, etc. So that is what we call medium of exchange. And then the store of value part is that, for example, some people, they accumulate Bitcoin because they believe the value of Bitcoin might become higher in a few years' time. So they use Bitcoin as a form of store of value. But some people will choose physical gold, for example. Okay, some people might choose the brick and mortar, the real estate, the a piece of house, a piece of land, etc. A form of store of value. Okay, so that is also the function of money. But then we all know that now, if we were to keep all this fiat money in our bank, we could be indirectly robbed by the devaluation of paper money because of inflation. But this is another topic, okay? So just keep in mind, now we already walked through two of function of money, medium of exchange, and source of value. Of course, the third one is very straightforward, the unit of accounting. So you see all the financial reports, all the businesses, etc. If you want to have a look at the condition of the businesses, the situation of businesses or any corporates, you look at their account books, you look at their accounting, you look at the system, you go into all the figures or numbers related uh, info. It tells a lot. Follow the money trails, and the rest are just storyline, or sometimes most likely bullshits. Okay, so these are the functions of money. Of course, we don't exclude the possibility that accounts or even audited accounts could be manipulated as well. But at least the figures, the numbers, will give you further insights into something. So remember, a thoughts on the future of money. By itself, money is a very big topic as well. Okay, so today is only an introductory, a very brief um, sharing about these three huge topic: blockchain, Bitcoin, and money. So this slide by itself contains a lot of hidden message and also further information that we hope you would be able to do your further due diligence or further fact finding, further information searching. Because in today's world, I think we are all blessed with this digitalization, because we never lack of any information. Indeed, all of us are being drowned by information. So what we need is that, how do we sail in this vast ocean of information and really find out that jewel, the real pieces of information that could really benefit what we want to do. So eventually, what we want, why we want to do something, are also some of the important questions we need to ask before we really jump into other things, or further actions or activities. Okay, but then this is something from a higher perspective or a generic perspective that if you really look into and you really understand the whole thing, then you might know what are the things that you may want to know, want to do, or really find your interest in, or be really able to contribute into. Okay, but then eventually, what we need to do is that um, help ourselves by um, engaging ourselves into this lifelong learning process. So we never lack of any information, we never lack of any knowledge. Now, what we need to do is that find out what we want, why we want to do this, and then what are the genuine piece of information that could really help us in achieving our goal or our objective and our target. Okay, so now another hidden function of money that is not taught in the traditional or the conventional schooling system is that money can be used as a system of control. Okay, now as you can see across all the fiat systems today, like cases or events like sanctions, like freezing of bank accounts, etc. All these things happen right under our eyes. Okay, so of course that this is quite a debatable subject and is quite a huge subject as well. Okay, on the control of money, on the monitoring of money flow, on the what you call AMLA, finance travel rules, etc. Okay, all these things why we mention is because if you really want to get involved in this blockchain project, the more you know, the wider scope you understand, the easier for you to structure and design your blockchain solutions. So that would be my sharing on this part. So imagine blockchain or the Bitcoin started as a revolution to break through some of the limitation of the system, of the current legacy fiat system that we have. If you study it from this perspective, from the conspiracy theory perspective, as the legacy or the conventional, the traditional system would like the majority to believe. Okay, but of course, as I said, this pretty much depends on each and every single individual's perspective, understanding, experience, knowledge base, etc. There are many, many elements that determine each and every single individual's action, responsibility, etc. So at the end of the day, it depends on our judgment, our action, and we really need to understand is that every single individual should take full responsibility to whatever decision is being made. Okay, so that is the part of it. And now we go to another slide. Okay, just now we mentioned about the fiat monetary system and the native digital money that we have or brought by this blockchain technology. So as what we see now, I'll try to put it in a very self-explanatory, simple, oversimplified diagram. Okay, so you see we have fiat monetary system and we have the cryptocurrency world. So these two worlds at the moment somehow are not directly interwoven, but they are being breached through certain mechanism. Okay, so just from a definition part of it, the fiat monetary system is what the majority of the world is using now. So you see the words like central banks, foreign exchange market, money changer, IPO, etc. In the cryptocurrency world, they are mainly run by computer systems. So they are mainly on maths, logics, physics, psychology, etc., coded into the computer system. Happen in the digital world mainly. Okay. So now we have all the terms like crypto trading, crypto exchanges, and ICO, or sooner or later you'll be introduced to this term called IEO, initial exchange offering, etc. So now we are still in the very late or the last stage of this wild west when we talk about the cryptocurrency world. Okay, so I think you all are very young, so you might not have been through that .com era, which is my era. Okay, so a little bit of extra information. I graduated from UTM Skudai, being a computer engineer graduate. So back in my time, we were still using this 56K modem, something like that, where when you want to connect to the internet, you might need to wait a few minutes for your modem to hook up to connect to the internet. We don't have that luxury of like just switch on your phone and then you are automatically connect to the internet and you can do whatever wonders. So back then, my thesis, my last year thesis as a computer engineer student was about web-based retail management system and enterprise resource management system. And then that time we wrote it in Java language. Okay, so it's a combination of LAMP system, Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. So after I graduated, I further carry my what you call last year thesis work into the business world. And then eventually I convinced one retail chain, which currently is one of the listed pharmacy retail chain in Malaysia. And I actually convinced them to look into and to buy in the idea of a web-based retail management system. So, okay, you imagine, yeah, in a time when you need to log into the internet, when you need to spend a few minutes just to hook up to the internet and use your point of sale system. It's not like today, you can walk into any of the pharmacy, you buy your supplements or whatever goods, then you pay and then they key in their point of sale system. That system might online in today's world in this point of time. But imagine that was back in year 2000. Okay, that was a time if you want to connect to internet, you might need few minutes, and that few minutes doesn't guarantee your success to hook up in the to the internet, and you might get disconnected anytime, and you have to redial back to the internet again. And that was the time I convinced a retail chain with 13 outlets to really take up that so-called web-based retail management system. Okay, so eventually we have to face the cold hard fact that it doesn't work in real time for fast moving consumer group goods. Okay, because pharmacies, they are considered fast moving consumer goods retail. Okay, because you buy Panadol, you buy all these what you call medicine and all that, you buy in petty items and you just buy and get out, and 1 hour you might have 50 to 100 transactions in the peak hours. Okay. So imagine you have a very unreliable internet connection back then, and you need to do all these transaction or recording into your database, into your system. It is impossible back then. Okay. But we overcame that challenge by doing daily batch processing. Okay. I'm sharing with you all these real world experience and real world case studies because I went through the whole process once already. And then what I can say today is that indeed the blockchain is the internet all over again. Okay. This is my very personal comment and my very personal feel about the blockchain and the Bitcoin thing. Okay. So that's why I'm sharing all this with you right now. So go back to the experience that we had with this pharmacy retail chain. You imagine we did a daily batch processing for this retail chain for the 13 outlets every single day. So at the end of the day, every day as they close their shops, we did a cron job for our Linux operating system where the operating system, the cron job will collect today's all the sales data today, put it in a text file, a CSV file, dial up the internet, and then do a patch or a batch file processing and send the text file in CSV format to HQ's server. Okay. So every day, the HQ receive 13 CSV file from every outlets and start to do the compilation, start to do the reconciliation of data at HQ level. And imagine that was a time when all your competitor still using the floppy disk. Every few days they go to each and every outlet, copy the data, and then go back to HQ and then recompile and reconcile the data. But as a retail chain with this far-sighted view, you implemented this web-based retail management system, or even though there's a big challenge with the real-time transfer of data, you are still ahead of your competitor by almost every day because you get all your data at the end of every day automatically through an automated system leveraging on the internet. Okay. So now imagine you have this kind of mindset and you apply it in today's blockchain world. If you truly understand what blockchain can bring to the world, or the potential of the blockchain system, just like how we did back then when we truly understand what the internet can bring to the business world, what are the solutions that we can supply and we can do in order to bring value to the market. Even though we face some challenges, we just do whatever we can where we are towards where we want to go. Then you might be opening up to yourself, um, or you might be able to make your first million or your first gold pot in this era of time. Okay. So that is my piece of advice. So in any era or in any challenging time, there will always be golden opportunities for all those who understand well the existing or the current situation at that single point of time. So it depends on what level of understanding you have, what kind of experience you have, what kind of knowledge base that you can use in order to bring value to the table. Okay. So it's all about contribution. It's all about solving other people's problem with what you know or with your capability. Okay. So that would be another topic when it goes into the enterprising or entrepreneurship. But what I would like to share with you is that this is real world example. This is real world experience. I went through the whole process once. So now we back to this slide. The bridging part of it, you will see the wordings like Bitcoin ATM, the cash crypto machine kind of thing. And then we have the payment gateway. We have the crypto fiat exchanges. All these things are sweet spots. All these things are opportunities of our time, this time, for these few years. Okay. So if you are in EE field, you might see another opportunities in another industry. You might see the installation of all the electrical charging stations or electrical charging points, EV charging point stations. You just need to focus on one thing. One single thing will get you your first million to sail through the rest of your entrepreneurship journey. So that's a part of it. Okay, so this is the two money three worlds. This is the slide about it. And then we talk about the three phases of cryptocurrency. Okay, you see, we had went through these conceptual coins, the Wild Wild West area. And what I can share with you is that during the dot-com era, we have this thing called dot-com bubble. Yes, the bubble burst. Okay, we had a very sharp drop in most of the tech stocks prices. Same is happening in crypto world. Now we see a lot of price crashes in the shit coins, so to speak, or coins with um, less or even worthless utilities. Okay, but this is normal in terms of any evolution or any progressive activities or evolution of mankind. So the first phase, of course, is the conceptual coin. Everybody have great ideas. Everybody seems like finding something interesting, and then they want to do this, they want to do that. They have painted a lot of bright future and good ideas about what things can be done. This is the early stage of technology adoptions by the mass, and this is going to be the Wild Wild West because nothing is proven. So everything is possible. Okay, so we saw countless of altcoins spring up like mushroom. And you check from CoinMarketCap, as I mentioned just now, we have over 20,000 coins listed there, and those are known coin. We have yet to talk about all those petty, small individual utility coin. But then after that, what we are seeing today now, we are start moving into the phase of the corporate or the business tokens. So as more and more corporates and business come into the scene, we will be seeing the token issuance to be backed by conventional or traditional businesses or corporates with goodwill. Okay, now the interesting question is that you might want to ask yourself, do you think BonusLink, AirAsia, they don't like to issue their own coins given all this potential technology can bring to them? But as I said, this blockchain technology is way beyond simple transfer of information. It is multidiscipline. So that's why you see in a blockchain project, they always comprise of many industry experts. Team members are comprised of different industry experts because blockchain requires multidisciplinary solutions. So let's say today, if I'm AirAsia or if I'm BonusLink, I want to issue my bonus coin. Can I issue it from the legal perspective? Now, this is a very interesting question you ask yourself, yeah? Even before the existence of blockchain technology or the so-called cryptocurrency of the or the tokenization thing, do you think bonus link as a computerized, as a digitalized system can actually allow the member to transfer point between each other? I'm not sure whether we today we can transfer point within each other member or not, but I still remember back then we are not allowed to do so. That means imagine this scenario like today I have 20,000 bonus link point and you have zero bonus link point. You went to the petrol station, you want to pump petrol, and then you call me, you say, hey, Mr. Cole, please transfer 300 bonus link point for me. I want to pump Shell petrol. I'm not sure whether today's bonus link app are able to do it or not, but back in our days, it's not doable. But logically and technologically, it's supposed to be able to do so. There must be something in the business perspective or from the legal perspective that it cannot be done, even though technologically it is viable. Okay. So sometimes it might be the real hardware or facility challenges issue, or what we call the foundation issue, or sometimes it might be other issues or other challenges like the legal perspective or other concerns. Okay. But then what we are seeing today is that corporate and businesses start looking into it, and they are finding ways in order for them to reap the benefits that the blockchain or the tokenization is coming or that is going to bring to them. And for your information, yes, if you follow through the news, Malaysia, we are going to have our two license initial exchange offering platform into action by next year. Okay. And this IEO is a form of something in between ICO or something in between crowdfunding and the conventional initial public offering. So the per project basis, the issuance of token, you can raise up to 100 million ringgit Malaysia per project. Okay. So you can watch out the space by next year. Okay. It's very soon, just a few months down the road. Okay. So this is the part that we are entering now. And eventually, as we look around, you can check out the updates of the industry from cointelegraph.com. Personally, two of the websites I visit quite frequently on a daily basis is cointelegraph.com and coinmarketcap.com. One about the news or the information, the other one about the coins part of it and the value part of it. Because eventually, at the end of the day, you still have to measure the effectiveness or the real value that the projects bring to the market. And what best than to measure the value or the result through monetary numbers. Okay. Once you leave the conventional school system, the best way to evaluate anything is through bank accounts, through accounting numbers. The rest are somehow a little bit of bullshit. Okay. But eventually, anything you can measure with numbers, you can put it into um, value, verified by numbers. All these things would be more logic and make more sense. Okay. Rather than a lot of storytelling. So eventually, what stated here is that what the people innovate, the states eventually appropriates. Okay. All the nation states will come in and they will definitely upgrade the current paper or simply electronic representation of the paper money into something digital native. And the keyword for this digital native for nation state issued money would be central bank issued digital currency. So you can remember this CBDC. Okay, the key term here is CBDC. So around 100 over countries are looking into this already. And the banks involved are Bank of International Settlement, the World Bank, the IMF, etc. Okay. So this is the part on the three phases of our money tree system. Now, after the money part of it, let's take a brief walkthrough about the technology side of it. So why all these money tree things that we mentioned make sense? We have to justify it and we have to support it from the technology foundation. Okay, look at it from the technology perspective now. These are the three things that we are going to look at. Okay, so now you see blockchain. If you look at it from the database perspective, thus far this is the best definition I found to date. Blockchain is a chain of encrypted data blocks organized chronologically. Okay, now, do you know why blockchain is immutable and why until 13 years after it has been published and been known to the world, 13 years, no single hacker claimed that they successfully hacked the blockchain network? If you understand how blockchain is being designed, how it works, then you will know this key term called network effect. Okay, the more participant it gets, the more participant it has, the more hard it is to break the blockchain. Okay, so that is the technology perspective part of it. But from the database perspective, this is a chain of encrypted data blocks organized chronologically. So if you look at the conventional database structure, you can imagine it as simple as an Excel file. So if today I know how you keep your account, how you keep your numbers in Excel format, as long as I know where you keep your Excel file, I can take it out, I can modify the column, the row, the sheet, then technically, just a very oversimplified illustration of how hacking can be done, yeah? Then you wouldn't even know that I changed the numbers already when you refer back to your Excel file. So certain balances can be changed as simple as that for a centralized system or a centralized way of storing your data. Okay. But if you understand how blockchain data is being stored, later I will send you the video clip. Okay, that is a very powerful and very easy to understand video clip about how data is being stored in a blockchain. But then just to give you a very simple idea of why it is so hard to break is that, let's say today, I want to hack block number 3. I need to know what is the current block number in the first place. And then I need to know, the first thing I need to figure out is that the data I want to hack and change restored in which block. Let's say today fortunately I know it's in block number 3. I want to hack block number 3, but then I need to know how far I am from block number 3 now, and then what are the mechanism block number 3 is using to encrypt the data, and then how far I have to travel back to take the data out, to decrypt it, to change, to modify the data, put it back. After I put it back, I seal it. I have to update the whole blockchain node until the current number of the node. So imagine now the latest block number is 1,000, 2,000. I might still able to do that hacking. And then the number of nodes in the market could be just 100 or 2,000. But what if the current number of block is in the millions and the number of nodes who have all these same set of blockchain in the market already break a million nodes as well? Then I have 10 minutes to do all this so-called Italian job. So far, nobody able to have these resources and this method of breaking into this kind of structure or system. Okay, so that's why until today you never see any reported case of the blockchain mainnet really being hacked in the first place. Okay, uh, uh. So this is the part that illustrate why blockchain is immutable. Okay, now we go to next slide. We talk about centralized, decentralized, and distributed. Okay, so this, I think the illustration is very simple, very self-illustrative. for a centralized system, as long as you know that the server is where located in what location, then you can do the hacking simply. Okay, like but for a decentralized like the cloud system, etc., you might need a little bit more of the hard work, but then still, technically it is hackable, and it has been proven that certain hacking has been done. But then for a distributed system, for a system or for a mainnet like the Bitcoin network, so far it is still the only single proven blockchain network under the distributed manner that has yet to be hacked. Okay, so that's the part on the technology side of it. Now, what can we do at the moment? Okay, what we been through for the past few years talking to industries and the market and the prospect is that so far the best solution would be the hybrid solutions. Okay, we take the best of both worlds from the centralized system and the decentralized system. Okay, so like for the centralized system, the part we can put in the solution would be the product, the services, the information, etc. And then on the distributed system, those that did more trust, more security, like the identity, like the ownership, the trust part of it, we can use the distributed system. Okay, so as simple as illustrated at the bottom part of the what you call diagram, on the centralized system is more about the communications, okay, the information side of it, and mainly we are utilizing the World Wide Web infrastructure. Okay, but then for the distributed system part of it, we use mainly for authentication, for genuinity, and then those we can reside on blockchains. And in the blockchain technology industry itself, we talk about interoperability as well at the moment. So there are a lot of challenges we need to solve. But then what we can say is that everything is still moving progressively, positively. Okay. But eventually we can't run from this thing called the internet. Okay. So this is the thing that would give you some insights or some idea about what can we build. So now, this is another very interesting part that I would like to share with you. Indeed, I share most of my sharing as well. If you look at everything from a wider perspective, from 100 years of human progress, specifically the technological progress, right? For the last 20 to 40 years, we actually successfully connected most of the human beings in this planet. Okay, we now even have more phones or more devices than more human beings already, but this is normal because if you look at the center part of the diagram, currently we are connecting not only the rest of the human beings but also more devices into the internet, onto the network, or so to speak. If you still remember this movie called The Terminator, we are building the Skynet of our time. I think it's not overclaim on this, yeah, because we are getting more and more things into the internet as we know it today. We are building the infrastructure, we are building the content, we are connecting the devices, not only human beings. So this 20 to 30 years, this 2 to 3 decades that we are exploring now, we are indeed connecting things. But where we want to go from here, we must understand why we want to do all these things. So eventually we indeed, that's why just now I said it might not be an overclaim that we are building the Skynet of our time, because eventually we want to know how we can better allocate our resources. We are indeed building our own version of artificial intelligence eventually. But how things are going to merge, or would the computer system themselves will go through an era of machine wars in order to conquer the world as what we have seen, that would be another big topic or interesting field for us to go through as well, besides the blockchain topic, right? But then what we need to understand for this century technology innovation perspective is that now we are in the center part of it, and then the World Wide Web is still ongoing, and artificial intelligence, we are moving anyhow, yeah. So now the part is everything is powered by data, and then from individual computer to network computer to cloud. Okay, so that's why we have this and those are the keywords I mentioned. Yeah, you you might want to remember and see how you can connect all the dots online, on cloud, on chain. Okay, these are the things that we can do. These are the things that the market needs. These are the things that the people want. People need eventually as we move towards the future. And I think 20 to 30 years, time flies, as people say, they will come very soon, very fast, without you knowing it. Okay. Now, this is a perspective from a higher view. So with that, I would like to end the sharing and open up for a little bit of Q&A so that I can further understand what is your real interest rather than just keep talking all the basic information. Yeah. But then for AI, previously we did have a sharing session on the medical side of it with a USM student as well. So these are quite interesting things for us to further explore. So I open the floor for Q&A. If you have anything to ask, welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Ko. So we actually have a Q&A link that we sent to the participants just now when you were speaking. So let me just share my screen and let you do that. Okay. So these are some of the questions that they had while listening to your talk. And before that, we actually wanted to ask you, how did you get into the whole blockchain thing from your traditional work as a engineer and then becoming a founder of the point of sale system, right? How did you jump from that to going into blockchain?
Mr. Ko, I think your mic is
Yeah, I
muted.
think you're muted. Yep.
Oh, sorry. Okay. How I jump into the blockchain is that I mentioned just now, I went to Andreas Antonopoulos' talk in KL in Gombak. So I will share the link of that recording to Gerald as well later. Gerald, you remind me, yeah. Then you all can have a view on that. That talk, that 1 hour talk, really opens up my mind on it. Indeed, he gave the answer to all the things that I am trying to figure out along the way. So I encourage you all to really look into that. And then I'll send another link on all the good blockchain related video clip that I personally went through as I deep dive into the blockchain world as I want to find out more. So all those are my personal notes that I compile, which I sometimes I also refer back in order to get some information from.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, so let's just go into the Q&A. If
Okay,
any
sure.
of the participants want to add more questions while we're doing this, you guys are welcome to. It will just show up on the bottom. So for the first question, they asked, what is your view on Ethereum moving off POW to POS? Proof of work to proof of stake.
This is my personal view only. Yeah. Because I think there are quite a lot of different views and different comments when Ethereum decided to move from proof of work to proof of stakes. So it goes back to your personal belief or your standpoint, or whether you are a BTC maximalist or you are a blockchain maximalist, or you are someone who view it more towards some form of religious view or religious belief that blockchain should be really decentralized, or blockchain should be really something out of the centralized kind of arrangement. Because if you have a basic understanding, proof of stake is more towards the centralized part of it as the design goes. Okay, so that's why we have this debate ongoing whether this is a good thing or this is a bad thing. But personally, I would view it as there's no good or bad or the best or worst, but it's simply as where do you fit in the whole progress of human history. Okay, so I think good or bad or best or worst will pretty much depend on where you come from and the system fit into what you intend to do. So to me, that my view is that it is going to bring more benefit eventually to the mass public. But for the maximalists or for those who what you call hold strong to that belief of decentralization, they might not really like it because proof of stake, if you really understand, it does put quite a lot of power into those notes holder. And yes, you see a lot of meme out there as well. So people are also questioning whether this move is really what you call aligned to that blockchain ideology of decentralization. I think this is where the part that raised most people question about um, the move of proof of work or proof of stakes. But then, of course, we see in the market as well, some people will stay with the existing proof of work. But of course, the market force will decide lah. So yeah, my view is that follow the flow and then choose the spot that best suit what you intend to do.
Mm. Okay, great. So the next question is, was Bitcoin really the first cryptocurrency slash use of blockchain, or was there other attempts at it, but Bitcoin was the first successful one?
Yeah, there indeed exists some saying that Bitcoin is not really the first digital currency and all that, but the majority of the media or the majority of the people would really perceive Bitcoin is the first successful application or the killer app of blockchain. So you can find those information further for Andreas Antonopoulos' talk or the video clip as produced by him, because Andreas is one of the gurus in this field. He has the in-depth knowledge of all this because he is also coming from a technical background. So you can do your further research on that. But I think the point here is that um, the reason or the objective why you want to know all these things in the first place, right? Whether for information purpose or for knowledge purpose only. But then in answer to this question, yes, there are other attempts to build something like Bitcoin, the digital money, but so far only Bitcoin successfully, as we all know it, shown or proven itself to be the widely accepted, widely used, widely known cryptocurrency. Okay. So we go to next question.
Yeah. So the next question is, does NFT qualify as money? I think it's like a valuable item if people give it value.
Yeah. So this is a very interesting question, right? So today, let's say we let's say we set up a business. We call our business UTAR Cafe, and we issue our UTAR coin. Then we have 1,000 UTAR students coming to buy UTAR coin, and each holder use this UTAR coin to spend or consume in the UTAR Cafe ecosystem. So this goes back to the same question: does this UTAR coin qualify as money? So some people might say yes, some people might say no, but definitely I would say the authority, the government will say this is no, 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 this is not money, because money, if you give it the definition as a legal tender, then it has to be authorized and acknowledged by a nation state authority. Then that will qualify it as a money. But if you simply look at it as the functionality of money, yes, if it is being treated as a medium of exchange, it is kind of money, but it is not that true money or the real money as people would like to perceive or legally acknowledge it as it is. Like the case of loyalty point. Okay. So if you look at loyalty points, we can use loyalty point to exchange, let's say, bookstore voucher, retail chain voucher, or use loyalty point to exchange for petrol, right? It is also a form of, it is also a medium of exchange. But do we call loyalty points money? Somehow, or rather, we don't call loyalty points money, but indeed, it does carry that functionality of medium of exchange. So that's the interesting part of it. So would you rather call it an NFT or would you rather call it money? I think it's still something very debatable. But if we were to refer back to loyalty points, I think yeah, it's still quite open, and I would say from legal perspective, it does not qualify as money. And maybe if government want to tax you, they will say, yes, it is money, so I am going to tax you. I don't know. So that's why we are in a very interesting stage of progress where everything is still what you call not clear, vague, if not mistaken the word. So it depends on how we draw the borders, how we set up the rules and regulation that matters few years down the road.
Yeah, only future can tell. Right. So the next one is that what is your view on Web3 currently?
I think Web 3.0 is something very interesting as well. So indeed, there are sayings that there might be differences between Web 3 and Web 3.0. So you might want to Google further for the differentiation of it. But for my personal understanding, is something to make people understand easily the phases we are entering. So it's like Web 1.0 is what, Web 2.0 is what, then Web 3.0 is what. Then people easily understand it. But eventually, my view on Web 3.0 is that it's just a categorization or definition or a scoping for people to understand what is happening today and what we shall be expecting in terms of technology progress for Web 3.0. Yeah.
Okay. So do you think Malaysia will approve the use of cryptocurrency as one of the payment methods in the future?
Okay. Currently, as far as I'm concerned, Malaysia not officially say don't approve, but also no officially say approve. But then still, we see people using cryptocurrency as a medium of exchange, as a form of exchange of value in between the users or in between the community as well. So like what we mentioned just now, this is a free market. We are still under the capitalism system. As long as there is a willing buyer, willing seller, and transaction happen, then both parties must be responsible for that transaction itself. So today, even if I want to use, let's say, 1 kilogram of cauliflower to exchange with you 2 fishes, and if you agree to do so, this exchange technically uh, it is doable, it is viable. So you just replace a fish and a cauliflower with any cryptocurrency. I want to use USDT to change for your Ethereum. If you accept my 2000 USDT with your 3 ETH, I'm more than willing, happy to exchange with you, and you agree on that, then the transaction works. It makes sense. But then the government, at the end of the day, we have to leave it to the government of the day to decide whether this is going to be acknowledged or not. Because eventually, what I can comment is that from a government perspective, if I want to tax you, then somehow I need to draw the legal frame line and give you a proper definition. But at the moment, not yet. I don't know what the government think or how the government is going to act upon. But of course, many people will hope the government to approve the use of cryptocurrency. And indeed, if you Google, if you search the news, our government does involve in this project Dunbar. So Project Dunbar is also part of the CBDC. And in terms of cryptocurrency, if I'm the government, putting ourselves into others' shoes, eventually we will have our own CBDC rather than acknowledge the cryptocurrency being created out of nowhere by somewhere or anonymous. We even don't know who are the creators to acknowledge them as a legal tender. Okay, that is one of the possibility. Like Chinese government, since I have the ability to issue my ECNY, I don't care whether I'm using blockchain technology or not. Why should I acknowledge BTC? Might as well I just put it as an illegal tender, a blanket ban, easier for me to control. For example, only, yeah, I don't know what they really think, but trying to look at it from a logic perspective or from a common sense way of doing things, if the government is capable of issuing their own central bank issued digital currency, they have all the accessibility, all the power to control that so-called cryptocurrency of their own. Why should they allow or approve other cryptocurrency to be their competitor? So that's why if you really look deeper, that's why the topic is about blockchain, Bitcoin money. Why the media, the government and all that, they have to be skeptical about Bitcoin and Ether
In a way, these are direct competitor to the existing fiat monetary system. Should people really take things up? Should people really understand the power or the logic or the system behind? But luckily enough, we are still under a controlled system. So all the media, all the information you receive, always give yourself a few thoughts. Think deeper and then get more trustable or genuine information sources before you do your own judgment, before you come up with your own answer or your understanding. Yep.
Yeah, that should be what everybody thinks about when they start off with another fiat or cryptocurrency, right? So, what
Yes.
do you think about Celsius, which is a DeFi bank that recently went under because of Luna, and the
Oh,
accountability for DeFi banks in general?
okay.
Yeah.
For this part, I think I'm not in the right position to comment on because I don't have any exposure to Celsius. And then for DeFi banks, personally, I haven't really looked into it yet. So I would like to skip on this question. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. So what is your view on blockchain technology being adapted by government sectors?
Okay. Blockchain technology will definitely be adapted by the government sectors. Indeed, if you check my blog few years ago, I did attend an event in Singapore. That event was called Blockchain in Governments. Back then, few years before the MCO time, already quite a few governments send in their what you call government servants and the government teams to explore the potential and possibility of blockchains to be applied in government sectors. And indeed, Malaysia, our Mike CEO, also one of the speaker there. So that event, I think I can share the link as well. I did some log on that. Yes, blockchain technology definitely will be part of the government sectors.
Right. So somebody here is asking for investment advice. Is it advisable to invest some into crypto such as Bitcoin or Ethereum?
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I'm not a financial planner. I'm not a CFP, whatever. So I'm not in the position to answer you on this. But then personally, what I can share is that from my personal experience, always remember there is a very thin fine line between savings, investment, and gambling. So never ever use the money you set aside for survival, you set aside for emergency, or even worse, never use borrowed money for the thing you thought you think is investment, but eventually it might be a gambling. Okay. So how to differentiate between gambling and investment is that one of the way is that if you buy into something and the price drop and you feel fear, you feel afraid, then you might unintentionally fall into the false sense of investment, but rather you are indeed doing gambling because you feel afraid, you feel fear when you see the price going down because your money might just gone like that. Like the case of Luna, a lot of people get burnt, right? Because they and a lot of people I do heard suicide cases because of crypto crashes because they borrowed money for this type of huge gambling, and some people did it with leveraging. Never ever go into gambling if you don't know what you are doing. Okay, so like the Chinese saying 什么输钱皆因赢钱起啊. So no free lunch in this world, no success overnight. For every single cent that you make, it has to come and match with your respective value contribution or effort being put up to. Okay. We went through the process. Indeed, this is quite personal sharing. During my time, we have the similar setup as well. During my time, our playground was share market. If you, I think you all didn't went through that bull cycle of the share market 97 and then year 2000 the dot-com burst, the dot-com bubble and the dot-com burst. So to me, I see why I can see clearly all these things are just the internet all over again because things happen so similarly It's just a different players, different playgrounds, and different settings. But then fundamentally, all things are so similar. So I think this is a very good question. Is it advisable to invest some into crypto? Advisable, not to say that, but personal sharing is that always remember to do your due diligence, and then always remember to safeguard and love yourself and take care of yourself first. Never ever use the money you borrow. Never ever touch your survival money or your emergency money for any of the investments, because investment comes with time. Investment takes time. Only gambling give you fast money, but 快来快去啊, right? Fast come, fast go also, because it's a zero sum game. You win 100, there must be someone who lost 100 to you, right? But of course, Bitcoin, Ethereum at this point of time, to me, personally, I have some, but that was my money, the money I can afford to lose, right? So some people, they like to use the analogy, oh, Lee Ka-shing also invest a few million in Bitcoin or in currency lah, example lah. But he is Lee Ka-shing ma, 3 million to him maybe like 30 cents to you ma. So you cannot compare like this, right? So 适可而止，量力而为啦。If really want to have some exposure, for the sake of gaining knowledge, for the sake of gaining experience, but not for the sake of gambling. Yeah.
Yeah, really good advice. So, what do you think? Why do you think many shitcoins are focusing on hype and pump and dump in their marketing slash branding?
Oh, this is very simple and this is very easy to understand, because people love get rich quick. People love easy money. People don't want to think. People love no-brainer things. If somebody tell them something, hey, you don't need to do work, you don't need to do anything, you can make this money, and then you just give me this money, you get that money, then they easily fall into that kind of setup. Okay. And then, like what I said, they always like to use big names and all the, oh, Lee Ka-shing also invest this and this also invest. Lee Ka-shing ma, not you ma, right? You have to remind yourself these kind of things, because these are some of the setup that the market likes to use. Okay. It's just like 装满水的桶是不会响. Okay. The higher the sound, that then it might shows that the emptier the bucket could be lah. So many shitcoins focus on hype, pump and dump, because this is what the market want. Okay, like you go fishing, of course you put worm ma, you don't put you don't put chicken wing you don't put other things ma, because fish like worm ma. Of course you give them worm, you get fish But if you put ching chai or whatever things that the fish don't like, of course you don't get your fish. So you get to understand in the game, are you the fisherman or are you the fish? Are you in the ocean, in the pond, or are you just standing looking at what is happening across the board? So you need to understand clearly. That's why in the movie The Matrix, there's a red pill, blue pill, whatever things. But keep yourself educated. We don't lack of any information. Yes, I think these few good questions. So always remind ourselves, 邊有咁大隻蛤乸隨街跳啊? Like the Cantonese like to say lah, no such big frog jumping around the street one lah.
Yeah, I think always be skeptical and do your due diligence before investing.
Yes.
Is a good idea. Yeah. So the final question that we have here. Oh, there's one more. Okay. So the second final question is that which latest industry would you think will be adopting Bitcoin technology into their business processes?
Which latest industry? I think one of the interesting industry would be the automated vehicles. Okay. So you see, people are starting to build smart cities around the world, and we are seeing the trend of moving from the conventional vehicle to EV, okay, electric or electronic vehicles. And Tesla is doing very good on this, right? And what we see about car or the electric vehicle or autonomous vehicle is that they are actually computers on the wheels, okay, rather than a car with a computer. So the latest industry that is adopting blockchain tech we have a lot, but what I see more interesting is the automotive industry because it is highly related to smart cities development. Of course, the blockchain technology, you see the fashion industry, they are applying all these NFTs and all this lah. But that one is more towards the fashion, more towards the trendy part of it. But the really value, the big value and etc., it would be the automotive industry, autonomous vehicle, and the smart cities integration. So in comprise of all the big conventional industry that are going to create huge value to the whole society and the whole world. You see, I have this short form, FEESHE, FISHE, food, education, energy, shelter, healthcare, entertainment. These six big industry are the one that really produce true value to mankind and that would really affect and accelerate or help us progress towards better human civilization. So yeah, you can concentrate on or you can look around for these six indeed. And eventually how these six is going to be integrated or to be shown as the proof of concept or proof of prototype, that would be through smart cities.
Yeah. So for the final question, it will be, when do you think the blockchain and crypto industry will be mainstream and adopted by many organizations?
Mainstream, I would say 3 more years. Personal view only, yeah. And then adopted by many organizations at least 5 years to 10 years. That's why I think that time when Malaysia, we made the announcement that Malaysia Sasaguna blockchain 2025, many people think that Malaysia is too slow or too 没有自信 too low in confidence to say that Malaysia Sasaguna blockchain by 2025. But now we are in nearly the end of 2022. And we only start seeing the maturity of blockchain technology in some of the industry. So by 2025, 3 years down the road, blockchain and crypto industry is going mainstream. And by many organizations, 5 years down the road, definitely, because it's going to be a ripple effect and it's going to happen eventually like what we are seeing for the World Wide Web. Like today, if you ask people, the business, any business that don't have a website is kind of like outdated already. So 5 years, 10 years down the road, any business without any blockchain backbone or whatever, they might be considered outdated or losing a lot to their peers already. So my personal answer will be 3 years to 5 years.
I think that's all we have for the questions. Do you have anything to add on as like final remarks or something like that?
No. So if any of the links that I miss out, your or any links that you want, you can get it. You can ask Jared, then Jared can communicate with me. I can send the links. Just in case I forgot to send the link.
Yeah, sounds good. Right. So
Okay.
If that is all, then we will give them the sign out forms for them to sign out and get the USSDC points. And I think that's a wrap for our talk. Before that, we would like to have a photo taking session if it's okay with Mr. Ko and the participants.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Yeah, so it would be great if everybody turns on the camera for just for our documentation. Okay, everybody's shy. It's fine. I guess we can ask Jared to take a photo, and when he's done, he can let us know so we can proceed with signing everybody out.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I
Right.
think that's
So
okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's all. Thank
All right.
you, everyone.
Thanks, Mr. Ko.
The sign out link
Thank you.
is
Thank you
over
very
there.
much.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank
Bye.
you,
Alright.
Mr. Ko.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Yep, thank you, everyone. The sign out link is already in the chat. So thank you again for coming this weekend. And I hope everybody learned something new. Thank you.